Hey everyone, Matt Cribbs here, and welcome to another Wednesday morning drive. How you doing? I'm doing great. A little tired this morning. It's it's bright again, which is, weather's getting warmer. It's getting good, but yeah, I've been on the road a lot the past couple days. I just took a trip down to DC area, actually Reston, Virginia, for work. Drove down there on oh shoot, what was it, Sunday night, and then came back in the morning, and I just noticed I had forgotten to charge the GoPro, so my battery is getting low. We might have to do another one of these switches to the phone midway through this. We'll see how long this lasts. Oh boy. New equipment takes a while to get used to it. What can you do? But yeah, drove down to DC area. And it wasn't bad. I did it at night, so it was kind of, well, not at night, from like, it's about 5 hours, give or take, with traffic. And I left around 6:30 each night. So, evening hours, and it wasn't too bad. It was, it's kind of a crowded drive, because unlike a lot of highway driving where you go and you can, I'm going to dismiss this little, battery symbol. But unlike a lot of drives on the highway, or because I go back home to the Midwest fairly often. I mean, it's a long drive, so not all that often, but I've done it a lot over the years. And, that's one kind of highway driving, where you get on and you go for a long time, and there's like only a couple cars around you, unless there's like construction, in which it's, when you go to Pennsylvania, like, seems like all they ever do is construction. But, it's kind of, the biggest danger is making sure you don't fall asleep out of boredom. Because it's a lot of just like long, straight passages where there's not a lot going on around you. Driving down the eastern corridor from New York to DC through Baltimore and all of that is an entirely different kind of driving. There is no time where there are not cars all the way around you. And I don't care if it's, 10 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock at night. It's always just crowded, because the East Coast is so dense. There's so many people here. Yikes. This is, hi son, good morning. How are you? And I just looked at you, which makes it impossible to see. But yeah, there's always cars around you. If you're at the wrong time, you could have the sun shining right in your face during the drive. Although you're going north-south, so it's not really that big a problem. But it can be hard sometimes off of glare to see. If it's at night, you got the headlights coming at you. And I hate these newer bluish colored headlights. They're bright, and if you get someone who parks behind you, not like right behind you, not like tailgating you, but a little bit behind you, and they're just, following you, and they got those bright headlights, it starts to give you a headache, because, you're looking forward, and it's fairly dark. There's street lights, and there's, the tail lights of the cars in front of you, but they're red, and they're not harsh in your eyes. But then you got like the two rear view mirrors on either side of you, and it's like bright light right in your eyes from those two sources, and it's just very straining on your eyes and on your head, to drive in that kind of situation. It's not fun. So I might have been cursing at a couple of people behind me and be like, yeah, I hate your headlights, but it is, I made it. It worked. It got I got back and forth, so no problems. So that was good. A couple of things happened during the past week. One, AlphaGo, I think it was definitely since last time we talked, but AlphaGo lost a game, and then AlphaGo won the other 4 games. So it was four games out of 5-game series against Lee Sedong. Korean Go, I think he's Korean, but Go Master, an actual 9-dan human opponent, one of the best in the world, and AlphaGo won 4 out of 5, which is amazing. I honestly didn't think it was going to happen for another 10 years or so. I'm flabbergasted that they've made so much progress. I think it's amazing. It's exciting. And I can't wait to see what some of the advancements in the different AI techniques get for, the systems we work with. And this is applications that can be used from anything from, self-driving cars to self-navigating drones to speech recognition to heuristics for content delivery and all these techniques. While AlphaGo was specifically solving a difficult problem in the game of Go, it was more representative of the fact of using AI to solve problems in a space that is so much bigger than, as we had said before, the previous game scenario of chess. So like more than doubled. I mean, it's orders of magnitude more complex, and it looks like we've mastered it. So you take some of those learnings and apply them to other problem spaces, and imagine Siri understanding you orders of magnitude times better than she does now. You have to be pretty specific. You have to be like, weather in, and you have to clearly enunciate, and you have to say certain key phrases, and it's very easy to make sentences that, while a human being would understand them, Siri or Google now, they can't parse them correctly. But you put this much more capable AI in it, and bam, all of a sudden you don't have to do that, and the usability of these systems just gets so much better. And the driving of self-driving cars, how great would it be for me to sit in the back seat and have everything just all in front of me and do anything on this drive to work? Or even better, Amazon automated delivery fleet, and you can take the human side out of the equation. It's just gonna be exciting. So a lot of stuff coming up on that. Yeah, and that's been happening. So there was something else that I think happened in the past week that I wanted to point out, but I do not remember what it is. I mean, Deadpool broke into the top 10 of superhero movies, made a ton of money, but that wasn't what it was. That's awesome, but that wasn't what I wanted to talk about. So anyway, I'm going to bail on what the second point was, because it's not coming to mind right now. And if I remember it, I'll just, interrupt like I kind of do. So it was a good couple days in Virginia. I mean, it was great. From the work wise, it was great. It's got a lot learned, and blah, I don't need to go into that. But it was, from a trip wise and culturally, a little bit, I don't know, a little bit, I have mixed feelings on it. And I'm just going to talk about my experience in, for 2 days in a small area of, Reston, Virginia, which consists of a hotel right by the airport, the strip of road between the airport and the office building I went to spend the day, and then, where that office building was, and an area right around there where we went out for dinner, and there's been some side roads and stuff. And that was specifically around an area called Reston Town Center, and the places immediately surrounding it. And it is what is called a mixed development or mixed use development. I forget exactly what the words are, but the concept is, living places, residential, business, stores, restaurants, and commercial office buildings kind of all mixed together in the same area. And I did not like it. I hated it. And I think that the quote I used was, it was soulless. And it was depressing. The whole area was, and I'm not going to say the whole area of Reston sucked. I'm going to say the small sliver that I experienced sucked. And, you know, I will give perfectly credit. You know, I saw the most generic of the worst areas of any town. You know, right by the airport, a big traveling business hotel, and kind of, you know, where a lot of other business is. And I, you know, I don't think you can go to any town and find areas like that that are actually enjoyable. Very, very few of them are. So that out of the way, this whole concept was, and why I said it was depressing and what it was, it's like, so the concept of this mixed-use development stuff is actually, you know, kind of a good idea if you think about the motivation behind it, right? So when cities and towns first developed, you know, everything was kind of all mixed together. Maybe you had the core downtown area, like in the western towns, with the saloons and the general store and some of that. But, you know, there were also houses kind of mixed in there and fairly close, because, you know, they were just growing as it needed. And things got all, you know, kind of mixed together. And then they had, you know, over the years, you had, you know, land down there gets really expensive, so people decide, and it's really crowded, people decide to move out, and you end up with these zones that happen for a long time, where you have, you know, shopping in one area, and offices in another area, and houses in another area. And, you know, you go back and forth between them, and, you know, where you live and where you work and where you go spend your time and entertainment and food and stuff are not the same areas, and it's a very different model of living, and people got kind of tired of that. You know, there's certainly negatives. You end up with, you know, crowded highways, because you have to drive to get anywhere, unless you're have an amazing subway, or it's not even subway, buses, or amazing public transport system. But it takes you have to physically move all the time to do anything, from house to work, from work to house, from house to shop, from shop to house, from house to work to house, shop to house, and there's always moving, and so it makes a lot of congestion. And, you know, you have to, as they're physically separated, you have to have separate power grids, and it's not, you know, that's the suburban, you know, sprawl, the whole, you know, housing developments and neighborhoods, and there's certainly negatives to that. So kind of like as a backlash to that, there was this whole thought or philosophy of, well, let's go back to, you know, the old, you know, downtown styles, where, you know, you'd have the shops and people's apartments or homes would be above their shops, and you'd have, you know, general stores right next to restaurants with the houses above, and you know, everything would kind of be all mixed in together, and it's nicer, it's smaller town, it's more, you know, there's a charm to that. And, you know, and so they started making these developments. Various entities, various people, various companies started making these developments, of which Reston Town Center is one, where they emulated this model of everything all mixed together, and you know, tried to make new ones of these. So, you know, conceptually, it's this whole area where you can live, work, and play all in the same area. And, you know, they have, you know, parking so people from out of the area can come use the shops, or people who don't live there can work. And, you know, it's not like it's a walled off little micro town or anything, but it is effectively a little micro town in there, and you could be there and, you know, live comfortably for, you know, 90% of your needs in this little area. And that's kind of a cool concept when you think about that. But the problem is the way it happened, because it's not like when you build up one of these developments new in the 70s or 80s or whenever these guys were built, that you're going to get, you know, little boutique new stores, or if you do, it's not going to be in an area that the housing is necessarily affordable, or you're going to get a large range of housing prices, and you know, it's not going to be, you know, our workplaces are so diverse as far as opportunities that you're not going to have a couple companies that are there and everyone, you know, it's not going to be a company town type thing. So there's some challenges, and as it ends up, you end up with these multinational chain restaurants and, you know, national chain stores, and, you know, very, very blasé architecture. So, you know, it's all very clean and new and unified, because they've been built as one unified development. So, you know, which corner are you standing on? It's hard to tell, because all the buildings kind of look the same, because they were built all at the same time as part of a plan. They weren't, you know, developed over years into these town centers. And you know, you have luxury apartments in there, and so you get a, you know, certain class of people who can afford those luxury apartments, making up the bulk of the people living there. So as a result, what you end up with is really like soulless. There's none of the charm. There's none of the, you know, sense of place. There's none of this sense of, you know, vibrancy that exists in these real towns that, you know, have gone up. And instead you get, you know, The Gap presents old-timey towns place. And it just, it doesn't work. It feels vanilla. It feels boring. It feels just dead. And you know, that was my reaction to it. It was like, okay, I can absolutely see what is trying to be done here, but it's not working. I don't think you can manufacture the haphazardness and the charm is such a bad word, but the organic nature that really makes these communities feel like communities, and the way they've changed over time, like, you can't fake that. You can't manufacture that. You can't build that in to a brand new development place. And so, you know, that's what you end up with. Like, I think it's really cool when you take old industrial areas and revitalize them, because like a converted loft in a old factory has this sense of history. It has this sense of, you know, like, how did it get here? And that's really cool. But a, you know, purpose-built apartment building with, you know, unified it just doesn't have that in the same way. So anyway, that was my thoughts of that specific development. But then, you know, the rest of the area is kind of the same thing on a bigger scale. Of the area I spent my time in, I do absolutely want to qualify that. And as soon as you leave that town center area, you get, like, you know, little shopping strip development area. Not strip malls, because strip malls are, you know, would be so ugly and bad, but like, you know, the modern, you know, kind of curvy layout with all the inherent traffic problems there, right next to big Avalon Bay company, you know, luxury apartment, low-rise buildings, right next to, you know, all sorts of things. And I cannot see past that bush, so I'm not even gonna try. But, you know, and it's all very clean and new and ish, not, but sterile. I think that's fundamentally the feeling that, you know, pervaded the area where I was, is that it was all very sterile and whitewashed. So yeah, it's a shame because we need more areas like that. We need people to be thinking about these problems, because otherwise we need to plan our towns and cities and living areas. We need to do this because we're getting more and more people and they're getting more and more crowded. And if it just grows organically, we're going to run into a ton of problems with infrastructure and utility and transport, and there's a word for the ability for people to move to one place or for another, but it's too congested so you can't, and I don't know the word. But we need to plan these things, but we need to also plan for the authenticity, the feeling of living there, and not just really trying to give people character and not whitewashing character on top of it. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting little topic. I wanted to share my feelings about and how that worked, and was really relevant since I had just been down there. But yeah, I know, not ground shaking, not earth breaking or anything like that, but hopefully interesting. So till next time, I will talk to you later, and never stop playing. I will as well. It's been a while since I've done a video because I was traveling, so I'm like a little rusty. Enjoy. Bye.